So understanding the idea of a valid argument from affirming the antecedent or denying the consequent, while denying the antecedent and affirming the consequent are invalid and give us 0% certainty, we can understand how this relates to science, because it actually poses a big problem for science. Many times we cannot observe the antecedent in science, even if it's with scientific instruments. For example, the Big Bang is the antecedent of the entire physical universe. We cannot observe it. It's removed from us in time. The only thing we can observe is what's left over from the Big Bang, the consequence. And so very often in science, we can only observe the consequent. Well, what does this mean for science? Remember, if you can deny the consequent, then you're 100% certain that your antecedent is false. This is a valid way of arguing. In other words, to put it simply, we can know by observing the consequent, we can know when we are wrong in our beliefs about the antecedent, if we can deny the consequent. But if we affirm the consequent, if we think this is what should happen and we observe that it does, in fact, we've committed a logical fallacy, we've made an invalid argument, and we are 0% certain that the antecedent is true or false. So we actually don't know from affirming the consequent, which may be the only thing we can see, whether or not our antecedent is right. We can know for sure if we deny the consequent, we know we were wrong. But if we affirm the consequent, we don't know. We have 0% certainty that we're wrong or right. Let me give you some examples to try to make this clear. Okay, so let's deal with this question. Was a Stegonosuchus a dinosaur? Well, if we can deny the consequent, we'll be 100% certain. If we can make an argument, we think about what's a consequent of being a dinosaur. And if we deny that consequent, we can be 100% certain. So here is a Stegonosuchus. And remember, if a Stegonosuchus was a dinosaur, then it had its legs directly under its body. Empirically, it's obvious from the fossils that a Stegonosuchus did not have its legs directly under its body. We deny the consequent. And therefore, do we know for certain whether or not a Stegonosuchus was a dinosaur? We know for certain, with 100% certainty, that a Stegonosuchus was not a dinosaur. We've made a valid argument. We have a reason for believing the claim that a Stegonosuchus was not a dinosaur. But what if we affirm the consequent? That, remember, is invalid and gives us 0% certainty. So same question, different creature now though. Was Gastornis a dinosaur? And we'll use the same consequent. If Gastornis was a dinosaur, it had its legs directly under its body. So we look now at a Gastornis fossil, and what do we see? We affirm the consequent. Yes, Gastornis had its legs directly under its body. Can we therefore conclude that Gastornis was a dinosaur? Well, we can't. That would be an invalid argument called affirming the consequent, a logical fallacy, and we actually have 0% certainty from this. And in fact, we see, to decide whether or not Gastornis was a dinosaur or not, we would need to make more observations. So here's the rest of that fossil. And if you look at the head, there are no teeth. There's a big beak. Gastornis was actually what we call today a terror bird. And these were gigantic birds that lived after the age of the dinosaurs, beginning about 62 million years ago, and they lived up until about 2 million years ago. And they were the top predators in certain parts of the world, and these were very, very, very big birds.